The taper modifier. The taper modifier is used to taper an object by scaling each end of the object. We're going to use a box, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to go and choose a box here in my command panel, create geometry, start standard primitives, and pick on the box. I'm going to just pick a basic box, and I'll pull it up in the height here, and let me go with, I'm going to set it to exactly 3 feet here, just so I know exactly how long this is. And I'm going to make it, say, 2 feet wide by 1 foot wide. Okay. Now, here is the trick to modifying, sorry, let me get that in there, 1 foot. Here's the real trick to modifying a box. Some of the errors that you see is that when a box will not bend is because of the segments. There's only one segment. You can see in my wireframes, there's one segment. There's no place for the box to bend. So we need to change these segments to a higher number. So I'll just throw 10 in there for now. It can vary on what the numbers are, but you got to have more than one. You got to have room for it to bend. And now you can see that in my other ones, it's broken into subdivisions here. You can see how it's broken in each subdivision and can bend and turn in each of these divisions. So now that I've created the box, I now can go and use the taper modifier. There's two places I can get a taper modifier from. Number one, I can go up to modifiers in the pull down menu and go to parametric deformers and go down to taper. Also, I can come over to my command panel and over here, and I can go to my modifiers tab. In the modifiers tab, I can hit the down arrow. I can go to my object space modifiers. Down here, I can go down to my taper. Okay. Now, in the taper, I have selected the box here, and I'm ready to taper, and I can say taper the amount, and I'll go 0.5. And you can see then that I taper the amount of the box from one end to the other. The 0.5 is like 50%. That one end is 50% smaller, if you will. If I choose what axis to taper it on, I could change it to go to the Y, or I could change it to go to the X. So I can also put an effect on here, on the Y effect or the X effect, or the XY effect. And I could make things symmetrical too by checking this on. So I can also put sort of a curve to it, and I'll put like a bulge in here, curving effect. And you can see how it curves. I'm going to switch my viewports, toggle my viewports, and I want to toggle back here. I want to pick that one. I'm going to toggle my viewports. You can see the curve now that's put in here. And so I can put more of a curve in here if I like, right? So it bounces it out more. So the closer to 1 this is, the more curve you get, right? So we can go from 0 to 1 in the amount. Now let's talk about the limits. I'm going to take the curve out for right now. Now, the limits are where does it stop tapering it and where does it start. So I'm going to put the upper limit, say, at 2 feet. And it's not going to do anything until I click on the effects. Here is my limits marker right here. So there's nothing happening after 2 feet. Remember, it's 3 feet tall. So in the first 2 feet, it's tapering. So I can have the bottom start at a certain point, and I can have the top start at a certain point. I can have top and bottom. But I want you to see that we can limit where it stops tapering it, or we can have it start at a spot or upper and lower tapers. So once we get what we like, all we have to do is right click out, hit escape, and we're off and running here. And I can go and switch back into another view port configuration, and now my my object is now tapered, and that's what we end up looking like as a tapered object. So modifiers are used to create complex 3D shapes when using extended primitives.